A very warm good morning to all of you. Dear students, once again, I would like to welcome all of you to a new session of the history class. Today we are going to continue with the same chapter, chapter number 11, the Second World War, part 3. Do you remember what we were discussing in the last class? In the last classes, we were discussing two different important causes behind the emergence of the Second World War. The first main cause was dissatisfaction with the Treaty of Versailles, and the second cause was rise of fascism and Nazism. So I hope you have revised and learned those 2 points very well. And today we are going to discuss about the third important cause behind the emergence of the Second World War, that is Japanese invasion of China. So without wasting time, let's move to the class. Japanese policy of expansion can be considered as another important reason behind the emergence of the Second World War. After the First World War, all the different countries faced a lot of problems due to the destruction of the First World War. So many number of countries lost a huge number of population, and it affected their economic growth and their production of different products. And in different fields they have faced a lot of problem. At the same time, Japan was waiting for a chance. They were having certain ambitions. They were trying to make profit after the First World War by following certain policies. Ambitions arose after the First World War. It's in the case of Japan. Japan's ambitions started to grow after the First World War. In other words, they were waiting for a chance to make benefit from the situation which was going on in the world. In order to achieve their interest, Japan was trying to dominate in the eastern part of the world, or eastern part of their country. As the first step, or in order to show their domination, Japan occupied Manchuria and set up a government there. So as per the Treaty of Versailles, no countries were permitted to make colonies in the world after the First World War, and they have appointed, or they have set up a body to stop these kinds of movements in the world. You might be knowing that body is being known as League of Nations. So even though there was such type of measures to stop a Second World War, but all those activities or all those measures were not effective in the case of certain countries, and Japan was one among them. So Japan occupied Manchuria to show her strength and power, and they have set up a government at Manchuria. So in such case, of course, the governing body or the particular setup which has organized to stop these kinds of movements, that is League of Nations, they have opposed the movement, the activities of Japan. But League of Nations was not having enough power to stop the invasion or the growth of Japan. So as a result, by 1931, Japan started undeclared war on China. So after occupying Manchuria, Japan started to move towards China. They haven't declared any war on China, but in 1931 they have started an undeclared war on China. China was ready to follow the different conditions of Treaty of Versailles. As per the conditions of Treaty of Versailles, China approached the League of Nations because Japan was continuously attacking China. China never thought of attacking them in return, but instead China approached the League of Nations for justice. But there was no use of that. Or in other words, the League of Nations took the neutral state in the case of China. there were some reasons behind it. Britain and France were the dominating countries of League of Nations, and they have ignored what was happening with China, or in other words, indirectly they were supporting the activities of Japan. So when China approached League of Nations, Britain and France, who were the powerful countries or the members of League of Nations, they have just ignored, or in other words, they have taken a neutral state in the case of China. In order to strengthen her power, Japan joined Berlin-Rome-Tokyo axis. If you want to understand what is German-Rome-Tokyo axis, you have to understand, or you have to know what is meant by it. Earlier it was being known as Berlin-Rome axis. You might be knowing Berlin is a famous place in Germany, and Rome is a famous place in Italy. So Berlin means Italy, Berlin means Germany, Rome means Italy. So Italy and Rome made an agreement, and they have started to oppose other countries. So here Japan also joined with them. Tokyo is one of the main location in Japan. So Berlin-Rome-Tokyo axis means Germany, Italy, Japan axis, or these three countries together were being known as axis, Berlin-Rome-Tokyo axis. So Japan joined with Germany and Italy and became a very powerful country, or along with, when Japan joined with Rome and Berlin, or Italy and Germany, they three together formed or created a very powerful unity. And for the Japan, there was a reason behind this treaty or behind this pact. It was for her expansion and conquest. Already we have seen in the case of Italy and Germany, they have already conquered a few number of countries by violating the rules and regulation which signed by a Treaty of Versailles. So by violating the Treaty of Versailles, they were ready to fight against other countries. So Japan thought it will be good if Japan is joining with Italy and Germany. So for the benefit of their country, Japan joined with Italy and Germany. So it was for the purpose of expansion and conquest. When Japan joined with Italy and Germany, she left from League of Nations by 1933. Once they left League of Nations, Japan started to occupy the properties of Britain and France in China. So now the condition is becoming more critical or worse, because Japan started to focus on the properties of Britain and France in China. And France and Britain, they have followed the policy of appeasement, which means France and Britain tried to console other nations, especially China and other countries who were suffering under, or who were really fed up with the activities of Italy and Germany. So France and Britain was trying to console them. They have followed certain peaceful measures. At the same time, they were knowing that it is not the ultimate solution for this case. But they were following this policy of appeasement, and there was a reason behind it. They thought that these activities will weaken China, or in other words, they thought that it will help to weaken the power of China. So finally it created a war situation. War situation was created because of the activities of Japan. So that's why we have seen, or we are discussing, or we are studying Japanese invasion of China as a cause behind the emergence of the Second World War. So dear students, I hope that you have got a clear idea about this particular point, how the invasion of Japan resulted in the emergence of the Second World War. So we are winding up today's class, and in the next class we will be discussing the next cause behind the emergence of the Second World War. Still then, I would like to sign off. Thank you.